Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
So attention cricket clubs and cricketing family, are you ready to step up to the crease and make a long-lasting impact on your club's legacy? Listen up, we've got something special for you. Introducing Fund It Now, the revolutionary fundraising platform that's changing the game for cricket clubs everywhere. With Fund It Now, clubs of all sizes can create a lasting legacy by selling personalised plaques to their passionate members, supporters and cricket club family.
That's right, Livo. Fund It Now has already left its mark on some of cricket's most iconic venues like Lords, the home of cricket, Somerset County Cricket Club, and with projects such as the Father Time Wall and Somerset Legends Wall.
There's the best part, Hugh. There are absolutely no upfront costs. Fundraising has never been more simple or accessible.
Imagine walking around your club's ground or up to the pavilion and seeing a bespoke wall of dedication, celebrating the history of your club and supporting its future with every plaque. It's like your club's very own shrine to the sport we all love.
And getting involved couldn't be easier. Simply visit Fund It Now's website at funditnow.co.uk to get started today, or drop them an email at info@funditnow.co.uk to learn more. It's time to rally your supporters and start raising money like never before. And don't forget to tell them you heard it from us at the Premier League Cricket Show.
So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of clubs and grounds like Somerset County Cricket Club and Lords and make your mark on cricket history.
Visit Fund It Now today and start building your fundraising platform. That's funditnow.co.uk. Fund It Now, where passion meets purpose at your cricket club, and begin creating your own legacy. Welcome everybody to the Premier League Cricket Show, and once again we're turning our eyes to Europe as we look ahead to finals week in the European Cricket Championships. Now, for those of you who've been watching online, we're on day 17 as we record this right now. 16 days of non-stop action as always over in the European Cricket Championships. But what's been missing all along, and we can't wait until next Tuesday when it cracks off, we've got finals week, and the most important team, let's be honest, turn up then, because our holders, the England XI, turn up. And joining us today to preview finals week and look ahead to what's going to be happening next week, we've got the skipper and European champion, Mr. Dan Lincoln. How are you doing, Dan?
Yeah, very good, gents. Good to see you both.
Yeah, it's good to see you, mate. It's unusual to see you in October, but good reason, because you're preparing to get out to Cartama and get the lads ready for that defence of the title.
Yeah, spot on. The season's been finished for us for maybe 5 or 6 weeks now. We seem to finish a lot earlier than some of the northern sides. So we've been twiddling our thumbs for a little while, and looking forward to getting out to Spain and enjoying some hot weather and some good cricket.
Have you been practicing the range hitting? Are we out there, getting the ramps out and all those kind of shots, or have you been having a bit of a break?
We haven't been practicing any forward defensive, if that's what you're asking. Not too many cover drives either. So, yeah, we've been working 2 or 3 times a week, kind of in small groups, obviously from up and down the country. A few of the northern lads have been together working. A couple of lads are quite lucky. They're Loughborough and Exeter together, so they've been working out. And then a few of us a little bit more southern based have been able to get together a couple of times a week. So we've been doing our bits. We've been watching plenty of stuff on the telly as well. So we've done a lot of remote work and then bits and pieces around that.
And you say the lads are from all over the country. Me and Huey just chatted before we started recording. This is an even more widespread squad this year than previous years. They are literally from Northumberland all the way down to Dorset. You've got the full phalanx of NCCA here, haven't you?
Yeah. There's a few lads that I've come across this year with the Challengers and a few of the other squads which we've been putting together and training wise, but otherwise, there's a few lads at different counties that I still haven't played against, and I've been playing this cricket for a while now. Obviously, played Cumbria a number of times in finals, but we don't get to play them kind of across other formats. Northumberland never played against them, so we have got quite a diverse amount of counties in the squad, which is good. But then we've got a number of boys in the round, kind of the home counties way, and a little bit further north or the Midlands in Staff. So there's a good core of players that we spent a lot of time with, and there isn't anyone in the squad that is unknown to us or we haven't spent time with.
And you look around the squad, there is some changes to last year where one or two faces that people who've been watching ECC will have come to know. The commentators talk about one or two people. The leading wicket taker Rich Edwards is not there this year. You've got people like Tom Bevan is not there this year. People who one or two got used to maybe when it comes to ECC, but we've got some very interesting replacements going in there, haven't we? And I'm going to, I think I want to focus on some of those names. So taking it from the top of the order. Tell everyone about Johnny Connell.
Johnny Connell is currently my favourite cricketer in the world at the minute. I've said that a couple of times.
I think I'm close with you that one.
Yeah, do you know what? I would pay a ticket price to go and watch him play. I think he's incredibly talented. He works extremely hard, and I haven't seen a guy hit the ball the way he does in certain areas of the park outside of the top level of professional cricket, not just professional cricket full stop. He's a really, really exciting prospect. I get to spend a lot of time with him, which is great. I'm glad I haven't got a captain or bowl against him. And it's just a really, really exciting talent, really good egg. Enjoy having him round and really looking forward to see how he goes whilst we're out there. I'm hoping the AstroTurf with the extra bounce and extra pace is really going to suit his game. So we'll see how he goes. But that's really, really exciting for me to watch, just as a fan more than anything, to see how he gets on.
So you actually don't want to be batting, really. You just want to be on the sidelines watching Johnny, don't you?
Yeah, I just want to watch Johnny for 10 overs. That'll make my day. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and I know that'll make all the other lads laugh when they hear this, without a doubt. But then also at the other end, batting to Johnny, you wouldn't mind just sitting watching Neil's kick off, because I think Neil's Priestley was potentially in the running to go over to Carterman last year. Couldn't make it, but he's definitely in the squad for this year. Again, a really exciting batter to complement someone like Johnny, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he's got multiple skill sets which we will use whilst we're out there, which is why we wanted to take him last year. He went out to Australia and wasn't available, and he's really bought in as a character and as a person to what we've tried to do this year with the challenges. I know his brother Joe really well. He plays at the same club as me, and obviously being brothers, they're not the biggest fans of each other, but when things pop up and they've got to speak kindly about each other, they do. And I didn't really know what to expect with Neil's, only obviously what Joe told me, but the way he's kind of bought into every session, every game, he's been a massive part of the change room. He's a really big character, and let's be honest, his skill sets speak for themselves, but the way he's kind of bought into everything, I think, is a testament to him as a character. And him being a left-hander, I think, is really, really important going out there. We've made a real conscious decision to take as many lefty-righty combinations as possible, because you're playing a lot of these sides where the rules are quite stringent. The wide rule is hotly debated amongst all nations whilst we're out there, as are no balls, head heights, bounces. And to be able to have left-hand, right-hand combination puts us in a really good position.
It does, and I think Neil's also at that height as well, doesn't he? So that bounce on the AstroTurf, it suits Neil's massively. I think you missed an opportunity, though, because you could have actually just put the squad out with Joe's name in front of the word Priestley and just see what Neil's reaction would have been quite funny anyway. But hey, so you got two batters there, but you've also got some bowlers going out there for the first time this year, haven't you? You've got Sam Keeling-Wright, Rory Hayden and Seb Allison. Now, we've seen these guys. I've been around them with the challenges, but these are what I'd call proper seam bowlers for you guys, aren't they?
Yeah, they're real. They've all got skill sets that we've looked for, specific skill sets. So we've taken 5 seamers out there that we're looking to cover all different roles across different times of the day and to face different batting attacks. And the one thing we did want is we wanted to cover all bases, which we think we've done. And I feel like we've covered the pace section really well as well. You've got Tommy in there, bowls quickly. Sam, who I think might be the quickest of the lot, which Tommy won't be happy about hearing. You've got Toby, who we saw how good he was last year and the skill sets that he possesses. He's able to run up and do probably all 5 of the jobs that we're looking to do. So he's kind of taken over that Rishton role from last year, where he can come in and be really reliable, do any role that we kind of ask for at good pace as well, especially under lights. Keeping to him last year, I was a long way outside that 25-yard circle that they play in. You've got Seb in that. The guy's an absolute giant and he's a bit of a wizard with a new ball. So he's going to run in and hopefully take a few poles early doors and make use of that power play and almost kind of turn the tie a little bit. And you know what, having 2 players out is obviously great for the batters, but with that extra bounce and swing that he gets, we're hoping we're going to pick up a few wickets in there as well. We're not going to worry too much about the economy of that power play, just how many wickets can we pick up inside it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rory as well. Rory kind of falls into that Toby category of last year, of someone who's going to run in, bowl good lines, hit his change-ups really well, got a good bounce on him, bowls his Yorkers wide line and straight really, really nicely. So he's going to be a big player for us as well. So we've got everything covered. And like I say, Tommy won't be overly happy about hearing that Sam might be a little bit quicker. So that might be a little bit of a challenge between the pair of them. So they're both going to come hurtling in and see who can bowl quicker. So we'll see what happens with them two.
I'm sure he won't be happy that you repeated it twice.
Yeah, well, he bowled at Scotty the other day, and by all accounts, it was good that I wasn't there, because he bowled very sharp and caught Scotty a couple of times. So I'm trying to stay away from facing him in the nets. I'm just trying to rile him up a little bit so I can let him go and unleash him at Cartama.
Well, he's obviously had a season where he's played some Metro Bank and obviously got around that professional game, and potentially a bit more laid back, even more crosswords. So if we do want to wind him up a little bit and to bowl a bit quicker, so what?
Yeah, exactly. He's a lot more experienced, and Worcester would have given him a lot of experience to fall back on, playing under pressure, playing against good players. Tommy's at the point now where he's coming of age and he needs to know what to bowl and when to bowl and why he's bowling it, as opposed to running in, swinging it or bowling fast. And he's getting to that point where he's got a better idea now of what he's bowling, why he's bowling, and to go out to Cartama and add his slower balls to his pace is good for his skill sets coming back home and playing next year and doing whatever he wants to do with his cricket. So any kind of 1 or 2% that he can take from this tournament, like others that have taken in the past and moved on, is only beneficial.
How are you sort of selecting these sides? I mean, we've got a T10. It's on Astro. It's in Spain, and I think I've not been out there, but pretty small boundaries. How are you taking the information from the English game, whether be it Challengers or NCCA, Cricket Premier League, to pick the guys that are going to perform well in Cardiff?
Well, I think we try and I think we're fairly humble about the competition, and these guys play T10 cricket all year round. And we do look at the skill sets that work out there, and we go, do you know what? Who are the 11, 12, 13 best players playing this European competition at the moment? And we go, right, he's really good at this, or he's really good at that, or he's got a low arm action as a seamer and he spears it in, or big, tall, aggressive batters that strike from ball one, they hit across the line, they don't have a high elbow. And all the things that work for these European sides, we look at replicating. Well, what do our guys do? Are they pretty close to that? Can we help them in terms of any skill sets that will help out in Spain? Because it's a completely different ball game. Year 2, when we went out and we weren't able to retain our trophy, we picked a lot of opening batters, and there was no problem with the selections that we made, because they were the best performing players in England at the time in NCCA cricket, with 800,000-900,000 run season. But we picked a lot of opening batters, and opening batters like to spend a little bit of time getting themselves in, and I'm one of those as well. I like to spend a few balls getting used to the conditions, but ultimately you need to be taking bigger middle order batters, very carefree, not statistic driven team players. Not saying that the guys that went out in year 2 weren't that, but by watching these European sides and looking how they go about it, we try and base as many of our picks off of their successes as possible.
You've got Cam Hemp going out there. He's just been in the Cayman Islands in a T10 comp, so I think that's going to be pretty useful. He's been playing with Andrew Ty, Chris Lynn, and a few others. What's he bringing to the table on the back of that?
Like you said, you just reeled a load of names off that are going to give him the world of confidence, because he's played alongside them and he's played against players that he's performed really well against. He got a couple of 30s very, very quickly, and him scoring runs against good players only breeds confidence. And I think also the experience that he would have gained just on dealing with pressure or not being phased in high pressure situations will do him the world of good. And I also think we've had a lot of conversations with the guys about what their super strengths are, and the one skill set or the one tactical piece of awareness that each player has. What do they bring to the team? What is their best strength, so to speak? Hempy's great at facing spin, and he's also great at facing high pace, anything from waist high up to his nose. He hits it better than most guys that I've played with. How can we match that up against players or bowling attacks that are going to offer him those scoring options? And I don't want to give too much away because we spent a lot of time on reading and watching these other teams, but all the guys going out there have got very strong ideas of their one skill set they need to bring to the table. And ultimately, you can't always play in that one skill set. But if they can bring that and they can nail that, every single ball they're out there, whether they're batting for 3 balls, 10 balls, or bowling 1 over, it's such a short game. Every single ball is an event. So can they win that event? Can they dominate the opposition that they're playing against for that ball? That's the idea of, that's the process we put in place.
Yeah, and to dominate just 60 balls at the end of the day, whereas in a T20 it's 120 and a 50 over, it's a short amount of time to just dominate. And we've seen that in the last 16 days of the ECC already, where teams that have got out and dominated have done really well. You've been watching some of it, Dan. What have you made of the qualities that you've seen this year versus last year already?
It's interesting because the competition seems to change every year. There's always a slightly different format to it. This year they've gone with 2 challenger stages where it's been some of the newer nations that are being brought into the competition, or some of the lower ranked nations that are trying to move up the pyramid, and they've started off in the competition. And I remember watching some of the games and listening to some of the commentary. The scores were far higher in those games because it was so batting dominated. As we've gone into the finals week at the minute with the stronger nations that are in the competition, those scores have come back down again because the skill sets from the bowlers are becoming more important. Your change up, your slower ball was actually swinging the ball more pace, and it is harder for batters. I think we'll go into finals week. I think those scores will go up again. But watching these other nations, you're just trying to take 1 or 2% from each of them. They're all very, very good at certain things. Watching the Germans for the last 3 days, their pace attack under lights looks exceptional. They swing the ball both ways. They do it late, got low arm actions, and there's some decent pace bowlers on it, especially under lights. They're not lights that you've got at maybe Lords or at the Oval. They're a little bit lower than that, and they seem to be a little bit brighter, and they're tough to play under. So watching attacks like that, well, actually, can you play them in the daytime, and can you have other skills and plans against them to negate what they're very good at? So it's just constant problem solving for us. There's a lot of time and energy spent watching and off the field processes as opposed to on the field skills.
Yeah, and I think Challenger divisions, the average score was 135 by the end of the Challenger divisions, which is identical to the average score last year across the whole of the competition. It hasn't increased, would you believe, in the first few days of the Group A and B. It's still around the same. The run rate's gone up a little bit more, but the average innings is still turning out about 135, 140. So I think there's an element of we're getting better across Europe, but we're not exponentially going on the steepest curve as it was over the last couple of 3 years. And I think teams are becoming far more, like yourself, analytical in what they're looking for there, aren't they?
Yeah, I think you've got to look at Portugal this year. They've recruited from all around the world, and they've used the rules and regs to bring in Portuguese players from wherever, England, Ireland, wherever they are at the minute, which is a great way of going about it. If you're eligible to play for a nation, then you should be playing. And I'm quite pleased they didn't go through, actually, because they looked like a handful, and we didn't know a lot about them. We could only see 2 or 3 days worth of footage, as opposed to some of these nations we've got 2 or 3 days plus last year, the year before, and so on. So I was fairly pleased they didn't come through, to be honest, because they would have been quite a handful to play against. But European cricket is getting better, and you look at the guys coming in to play it. Ultimately, people are seeing, going, you know what, that's a real good system. That's a real good competition. I want to go in and play it. I want to be part of it. So the competition only gets stronger and stronger, and the better players that go in it make for it to be maybe a better watched or a more televised event. I know they enjoy a few of their bloopers that come on and run outs and catches and bits and pieces and the funnies that go with it, but they're playing so many games across the year. There's always going to be a few bits and pieces that go a bit haywire. You've only got to look at our competition around the year in the Blast and the County Championship and the Metro. There's so much going on. There's so much cricket. There's always bloopers. I think last game of the championship season, there was a dog on the pitch. So all these bloopers do make headlines, but the better cricket and the better cricket is playing out in Europe is only better for the event.
Just looking at the standard, I mean, there was a a clip put out, was it a couple of days ago, just highlights of one of the group stages, and it's phenomenal. The standard, the fielding, the standard, the ball striking is absolutely incredible. It's right up there compared to where it's come from, 2 or 3 years ago. And just you discussing your preparations for the tournament. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I can assume the preparation for this tournament is vastly different to your preparation for 2021.
Yeah, of course it is. I think we managed to get outside a little bit more in 2021. We haven't been able to get outside at all, so we've been stuck indoors.
Yeah.
But the preparation is very, very different. And until you've watched it live, I don't think people realise how good of a level the cricket is, especially the ball striking. The fielding gets better throughout the competition. It's tough because we haven't fielded for 3 or 4 weeks. All these nations have or haven't been outside. The bowling's great. The bowling's probably the lowest of the skill sets in some capacities, but the ball striking across every single nation is remarkable. You get guys that kind of turn their nose up at it a little bit, whether it's first class cricket or whether it's club cricket. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. Well, a lot of guys could do it, but until you go and see it firsthand and give it a go, you don't appreciate how good some of these other guys are. So it is quite humbling to go there and you play a Belgium, for instance, or you play a Portugal and you've got number 9 walking and you think, oh, we're through this. And it goes bang, bang, 2 sixes at the park. And you're like, well, this lad could have batted at 1. Like, what's the difference? Whereas you play cricket here, like, not very often number 9 can hold the bat, to be honest. They end up holding the wrong end of it. So the ball striking is tremendous. Hearing it off the bat is quite frightening. And you've only got to hear the ball. You haven't even got to watch it and you know if it's 6 or out. So
definitely. It's interesting to talk about the skill set and bowling being the lowest third down, because it is noticeable once we got into the Premier Division over the last few days that level has gone up. So there were 4.3 wickets taken across each of the innings of the Challenger Division. And we're up to 5.5 now in the Premier Division because the bowling's so much better quality. I've seen a massive difference in terms of the level of bowling this year to last year already. And some of the in-swinging Yorkers that are being bowled now, it's good to see a proper old school in-swinging Yorker take the poles away. They're just starting to get to what we'd class as almost the standards that we're used to seeing here.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think, like I say, we're talking about the whole competition here. We're probably not talking about 3 or 4 teams. We're talking about everyone. And the bowling has improved. It's quite clear to see that, but it's still beneath the ball striking and the batting. And I think when we go into finals week, that 5.5 wickets or whatever it is now will go up again. I think it'll be closer to 6.5, 7. Because teams in finals week will also be like, well, we don't care if we lose wickets. We've got batters that bat all the way down. So there will be more wickets. The fielding will be better again. But it is good to see the bowling getting stronger. And ultimately, stronger bowling means you hit different areas of the park rather than just loading up and hitting the sight screen all the time. Actually, different parts of the ground become accessible. You might see a few more ramps and scoops going into finals because there's more pace on the ball and it's easier with a bouncing ball to go square of the wicket. So we'll have to kind of see how it goes. But it is good to see the bowling improve because you watch some of it sometimes think, do you know what? Club cricketers will go, oh, I could score against that attack. Well, 100% you could score against maybe some of the lower ranked nations, but they're lower ranked nations for a reason. They've just come into cricket. They've just come into the limelight here and they're working their way up. But it's also very, very, very humbling playing on an AstroTurf. I know we do it at home for periods of time, but I, for one, whenever it's a bit skiddy or a bit wet or a little bit dark in the evening, well, I'm not going to bat tonight, lads. Like, I'll just play Saturday. I'll be fine or whatever. Well, actually, you got to go out and play on a wicket that's a bit slippery, it's a bit nippy, and you've got to go and score runs against it. So many of us club cricketers go, do you know what? Not tonight. I'll have a net when the weather's real good, or I'll only have a net in the middle. I'll have a few balls and that'll be fine. So it is difficult. It is quite a leveler, and you have got to get your head around it because preparations are not perfect by any stretch.
Most definitely. You're going to go out there next week. Tuesday, we've got the first game of finals week. We've already got Germany through and Scotland through. Germany, I think, they just avoided a banana skin with Hungary yesterday. Scotland came through with momentum. Scotland would wish they'd gone into finals week immediately, I think, with the momentum they took, because obviously they defeated Ireland, Ireland looked really good until Scotland actually got themselves going. Who are you looking at in those two and the groups that are to come as potential banana skins, or unfortunately, as we have to say, Switzerland's that we want to avoid?
Do you know what? I think that's doing a disservice to Switzerland saying that, because when we played against them, and they beat us in that, was it the qualifier or the eliminator? It would have been the qualifier game. They were just far better than we were on that game. They hit their straps with the ball, they bowled nicely, and then, like we say, they whacked out the park. So I think it's not like FA Cup football where there's upsets. These guys are very, very good at what they do. And cricket is one of those sports where if one person has a good day, a really good day, they beat the other 11 players they're playing against. That's the sport that we're in. It's not like football where someone can score a couple of goals and the opposition can score 4 or 5 back. But when we played Switzerland, I thought they were really, really good. They bowled nicely. We played them again in the final of the group stages when there was a lot more pressure on it, and we came to the party and played well. But I think some of the other nations in Spain's group, I think you got Switzerland and Belgium, even Malta were very good. We played against Malta last year, and they were quite frightening at times with some of I think the 2 openers they had. Basil George, he gives a few of the lads sleepless nights. So I think that would be a kind of 3-way shootout: Spain, Belgium, and Switzerland. I think there's no Spain, obviously the highest ranked, and they should get through, but there isn't a clear winner there. That could be either of them 3. And then the last group, you can't look past the Dutch, especially with the side that they're bringing, just stacked full of international quality and international caps. But you've got Jersey and Italy in there, and Norway and Sweden as well know what they're doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset from maybe Group C. That would be the one that I kind of looked at. Scotland and Ireland was a bit of a shootout in Group A, so there's no surprise that one of those came through. But we'll have to see with Group C.
And then we get to finals week, and it's all on from Tuesday, non-stop for you guys. 8 games in the group before you get into finals day?
Yeah, everyone twice, isn't it?
I think so. And then the usual, as our friend Jeff Ellis calls it, the repechage of finals day to actually get you guys ready to actually get to the final again. And it'd be nice to go up against the Netherlands again, but you know what? They will take some beating.
Yeah, I think anyone in finals week is going to take some beating. It'll be interesting because Group D would have played Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then straight in for another set of 5 or 6 days. So there might be a little bit of fatigue there. And I think I think maybe Group B, definitely Group C, will be staying out there for the period of time as well. They won't be going home and coming back. So there could be a fatigue element to it. But equally, those teams that have come through, they've got momentum. They're out there. They've just played. They've had a good warm-up. That might suit them quite well with us going out there pretty fresh. So it's kind of all up in the air, to be honest, which is the way you want a competition. You don't want any kind of side to be runaway winners or to be massive favourites, which we're going out there and not expecting to be massive favourites and run away with the competition at all. And 10 overs of cricket, you only need 1 or 2 balls to go out the park or 1 or 2 dismissals, and the game's pretty topsy-turvy. You flip it on its head.
Without a doubt. So we're a week away. I've been talking about this now for a long time. You've been building up to this for a long time. It's the end of the season properly next week for you, isn't it now, Dan? You've had a long season, but this is the one you've been building up to for a long time now, just to make sure we retain that title. Yeah,
I think it's been in everyone's mind. I think when the season finishes here in September, I think all the lads would have had more than one eye on this competition. It'll be great to go out to Spain, represent the NCCA, the challengers, represent the country, and actually just get another week's worth of cricket of doing what everyone likes to do, bowling fast, hitting balls out the park with good weather and hopefully no rain in sight. So everyone's had their eye on this for sure. So we're looking forward to going out. The weather looks good. The competition is strong, and we'll go out there, we'll enjoy ourselves, and we'll try and play some good cricket.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be with you all the way. For everyone who's listening, just check our socials. We'll be all over it and pushing the boys left, right and centre. We've got some interviews with the boys coming out over the next few days as well. And our friend Elliot, who's been working with the Challengers, is going to be putting stuff on the Challengers socials. So keep an eye out for what the guys are putting out there. It's a proper squad going out there, proper cricketers. And, we try to be neutral on this programme most of the time, but in this case, sod it, because we want to win. There's no 2 ways about it. We want England to come back. And just in case you didn't know, Hugh, I've got England in the sweep on European cricket, so I'm doing all right, aren't I?
Have you blagged that?
You got Estonia, mate. Come on. So
they were going all right.
Yeah, Vinny was quite happy to text me when I got England to say, you can't believe who you've got. So you've got to win it just so I win the sweep, please, Dan.
Absolutely.
Is there much on the sweep, or is it just a fun all taking part?
It's a little bit of fun, but come on now. It makes sense. We got
the glory.
It's got to be to brag it up a bit, haven't we?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Have a good one, mate. I'm sure you'll have a great week out there with the lads. It's a great experience, as everyone keeps telling everyone. let's make sure that everyone understands how good this is, and the quality of cricket that will be played next week will be exceptional.
Yeah, it'll be good fun to watch. It'll be good fun to play in, but equally it'll be good to tune in and see some balls fly at the park, and equally see some stumps get knocked over.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Premier League Cricket Show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes and stay updated on all the latest news, views and discussions from around the cricket's Premier Leagues. And be sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram at TPL Cricket Show on both. Join the conversation, share your thoughts and connect with us and your fellow Premier League cricket fans. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, why not show us some love? Leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform, as it helps other potential listeners to find us when they're searching for cricketing podcasts. Thanks again for being part of the Premier League Cricket Show family, and until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.